ill-prepared again. I forgot to write down the title of this episode on my sticky note, so I was about to be like, hey, this is Orphan Black 209 called Nothing. There's nothing there. Hello, my name is Shantel from Shantel is Probably Sorry. The time the reaction or rewatch starts is in the description. I do have intro comments. This is Orphan Black Season 2, Episode 9 called Things Which Have Never Yet Been Done. I really like that title. It sounds like something I would say in a poem. I think the episode before last I said something about filler episodes, and then I was like, do filler episodes really actually exist on this show? I mean, they do, but it's just everything happens so fast that there's always, at least usually, one important event that happens in an episode. Everything just happens so fast. I think I've mentioned this before, but starting Orphan Black made me so impatient with all the other shows that I was watching. It's better now, but for example, I was watching One Tree Hill and I was like, oh my god, this show moves so slowly. Donnie is now in Clone Club. That happened episode before last, but even though Donnie had his stupidity, I was excited for him to be in Clone Club. And the first time I watched 207, I didn't know that he was going to be in Clone Club. I was just like, okay, is he ever going to know that Allison is a clone? And so I remember being very excited for the new possibilities that arose from Donnie being in Clone Club. I think it was last episode, 208, Duncan, Ethan, not Susan, was reading the book The Island of Dr. Moreau, or was talking about the book or giving it to Akira. I don't remember. And I think the book was just on the screen. I think he was simply reading the book. And do you know whose theme was playing? Casima's. And it would make sense. It didn't even click to me that that's what was happening until I was editing. And I was like, that's definitely a Casima theme. And also it sounded a bit like Endless Forms Most Beautiful. But it would make total sense because the Island of Dr. Moreau has Ethan's language in it, has the key to unlocking the sequences that will help Casima potentially. And actually in next episode, 210, I'll point it out during, the actual video for it, but in the beginning, the way the theme alternates, something similar to that where, to where Casima's theme was playing while the book was on screen, happens next episode, 210, at the very beginning of the episode. I won't talk about it now, but just know that I will talk about it then. It involves theme music and discussions. Also, the first person I told this show about was Dahia. She was just as into shows as I am, and I'm like, you're gonna love this, watch it. And I think for whatever reason, she stopped at 207, and I just remember being so excited for her to watch 208 specifically. I was like, watch 208, watch 208, watch 208, watch 208. When are you gonna watch 208? Like, I don't know why. I was just so excited for her to watch that episode specifically. And she stopped at 207 for like over a month. And I was like, what are you doing? I have a vague memory of what happens in this episode. All I really remember is that Kira gives bone marrow and Rachel impersonates Sarah and tricks Delphine. That's really all I remember. Do they bury Leaky this episode? Probably. Oh, also, I guess we see Helena again this episode. Helena's back, I think. Which must mean that the ranch gets burned down at the end of this episode? No. I can't remember.
Pressure of family day.
We want to take you to your children.
You took my babies from inside me.
Take me to my babies.
You gave me Kira's stem cells.
It is a finite source.
Like, even here in the previously on, you hear their different themes. Helena's theme was just playing, and now it's...
Rachel.
That's Rachel's theme. Or some of her sounds. I just love that so much.
Let me know when it's done.
The themes.
You might survive.
She's the midwife.
I've done this many times.
Hey, Catherine.
They feel just...
Is this the first time we've seen Catherine's face? I think this is.
You're doing very well, and you're very strong.
Catherine is Tatiana's clone
Heading
double.
through the cervix.
I feel like everyone knows that, but some people might not.
In 9 months, we'll be welcoming a brand new you into the world. Maybe even twins.
So let's get this straight. This episode, season 2, episode 9, is less than 9 months away from season 5, episode 10. So basically 3 entire seasons happened in less than 9 months. 3 entire seasons. But also I knew that because I was pretty sure that this entire show took place in like maybe a year and a half.
The growths have spread from Casima's uterus and lungs to her esophagus, all her epithelial tissue, and things are different now. She won't believe you. Do you?
I don't.
I am in the middle, committed to my subject. I'd like you to take over. It's not a bribe or a ploy. You're uniquely qualified.
How about these nose tubes? Sexy, right?
Nulingus. I had no idea it was so bad, Casima.
Such a bad
Don't do that, please.
joke.
Just seeing you guys is making me feel better.
Classic
We want to
though.
help Casima, but we're working through it, you know?
Helena
We're gonna
sounds
discuss things on our end, and we'll get back to
because
you
of the
soon.
murder.
One final thing. Dr. Leakey's.
Those are called mischief sounds.
What do you mean, like?
Officially, he died on a private jet.
Death sounds. Helena sounds mixed with Allison
Why say Leakey
sounds.
died on a plane? He didn't die
I
on a
like.
plane.
No, he died in your car.
So we dumped him in the lake. With weights.
Do we have a boat?
Have you
Have you
seen?
ever seen Dexter? I mean, random scuba divers are finding everything. I can't risk transporting him, Donnie.
Fine, then we bury him in the yard.
I love Dexter. That's not gonna work.
No, let me do it.
I got this.
Donnie?
You know, all the clones, well, I'm not sure if all of them do, but they're strong. Like, physically strong. And like Helena earlier with your strong comment. And Crystal in season 4. Wow.
Are you ready to stand by her as her husband?
It could work if it's our own terms, our own security.
It's not your decision. It's not any of ours.
Who's Kara's?
At least I had the good sense to leave mine where she dropped.
He was in my car! I can't do anything.
Mommy!
Hey!
No. Get over here. Out.
What an athlete.
Out. This isn't safe.
There's a man here, see you.
She cleared that whole thing.
You're not listening, Faith.
I just wanted to touch your hair.
Don't talk back to me.
You're hurting me.
You touch her again, and I will gut you like a fish.
Look at Helena, overprotective mother of all. Of all.
The whole time.
It's so strange to think that Helena's like straight up murdered people.
What kind of mother am I? The best and the bravest and a very, very good sister.
I'm sorry.
I have something to say about that scene. I'll save it for the end. I actually have a lot written down to say at the end so far. And the episode is like not even halfway done. So.
Donnie, please.
Baby, I'm telling you, this is
Vic and this garage.
The next second, bang! I said I want to tell you, kids, there's a cop outside! There's 11. Just say.
Wait, keep messing with my headlight.
God, I hate this garage. This is how we take care of this family from here on. And if you come near my home or my family again, I will bury you. Smile.
Vic.
Have a
Shitty
day.
dirt. I think this was when Donnie finally started to get on Stanley's good side. I found it an interesting change. Not for the worse, for the better. Everything about this Everything about this man is so messed up. And the Proletheans here. Talk about it later.
Might as well eat. We will be fat soon, anyway. I thought you liked Mom. My baby singer suffix.
Haven't you been listening to anything my father says?
It's not funny. It's really, really not. It's really not.
Transcription algorithm.
It was Susan's sterility concept. Degrade the endometrium, prevent ovarian follicles from maturing.
Okay.
It's
Horrifying. Why not?
I love you too, Daddy.
Thank you, darling.
I don't like this. I don't like it at all. I don't like feeling things. Ah. Throw my phone. I already throw my phone once today. I'm pretty sure before season 5, whenever I would see this scene, I wouldn't think much of it. I would just be like, I don't give a damn. But this hurts me a little bit. It hurts me to see Rachel being human. I don't know why. It's because she's so cold, and that's what I'm used to, and that's what I'm used to not liking. Maybe these moments hurt me because it reminds me that she is human, and that she's had a messed up past just like a lot of them. The only difference between her and Helena, for instance, is that Rachel is the adversary, and Rachel has power. Well, now she has power, but even so, it's limited power. Because why would they ever put a clone in charge? And I think part of what hurts me about seeing her be human, or what's hurting me at this very moment, is that it just shows me how she doesn't get to be. She doesn't really have the privilege of relationships and genuine connection or showing affection for her father. It's all about whatever's best for the agenda. I don't know.
What time?
I've never actually read that message. I've never read that message. I'm gonna read it now. From a name at dyadinstitute.com, confidential file number. We have come to terms with the requested field asset. Asset is active and waiting future communication through specified channels. Something about further instructions.
Mother's gone out west to find more brood mares. Both of you can go to hell.
That is a... Oof.
Oh, Gracie. What would your mother say?
That was a serious threat coming from them. The Proletheans.
I have never been more attracted to you than I am right now.
This is a weird thing to... Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be nasty. Come on, down here.
I didn't want to see a booty. I didn't want to see it. I really didn't. I didn't want to see it. I forgot that there was going to be a booty on my screen. If I was prepared, I could have handled it. I just paused it to say, she was like, I want to be dirty or nasty or something. And I saw a post about it, and someone, I guess some people might have think that it was anal. I don't think it was anal. I think that they're just used to a very boring sex life, and so anything besides missionary is dirty.
And straight people like a missionary.
That's what look, I'm not gonna lie about it. That's what I took it as, okay? Is that not the position that we see her and Donnie have sex in later, season 3? That was missionary, pretty sure.
Go, baby.
That smells.
This is how you do it.
This.
You made your point.
Does it look like I'm trying to be funny?
The irony.
Elena.
What a painful way to go. I just thought of something really bad. I'm not gonna repeat it. It's gonna get this video demonetized. It doesn't matter. I'm just not gonna say it though. What a painful way to go. The camera was so shaky during that scene, on purpose.
Rachel may have compromised you. No, wait.
What she wants. To warn us. Rachel's making a move.
You know, I didn't pick up on the fact that that was Rachel at first. Until like...
Hey, what's going on?
Pleasure to meet you, Felix.
Felix didn't deserve that. My kink is Sarah storming off into danger while Delphine shouts at her to be careful. It's a joke. Can we not? Don't. Do not. Don't. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this.
What's wrong?
I made a terrible mistake.
What have you done?
Listen.
You may even grow to like it here. Just as I did.
Rachel. So that was Orphan Black 209 called Things Which Have Never Yet Been Done. I do have quite a few things to say in the outro comments. I'll try not to make them too long, but I did write down many things, so I don't know how that's gonna work. For anyone who makes music or does audio engineering or even video editing, certain programs have certain sounds in the program, and it's kind of a package deal. Those sounds don't mean anything until you pair them with a MIDI sequence. And it's funny because a MIDI sequence doesn't mean anything until you pair it with the sound, at least not in production. I mean, there are ways to use MIDI without actually applying a sound, but I'm just speaking in general terms. And a MIDI is a musical instrument digital interface. MIDI. They usually look like little squares. It's like a representation of where a note is or how long the note is. And so you have the sequence, which is basically the map for the melody or chords or whatever, but that sequence doesn't mean anything or doesn't really have life until you add a sound to it, whether it be piano or guitar or percussion or strings or flute or horn. Anyway, I kind of digressed there. I said I wasn't gonna make these long, but I did. There are certain sound sets that exist that are common between production softwares. All this to say that in Arrow, it was season 4, episode something. I don't know what the episode was, but every single time, it's like close to the very beginning of the episode. And this is the only time I've ever heard the sound in the entire 6 seasons of the show. It was a Helena sound. It was that sound that kind of sounds like a coil. No. I can't make the sound. That sound.
My father's.
I was going to explain it like a slinky unfolding, but I realized that wasn't, that could easily be any of those sounds. I don't know, it's kind of this ripple, kind of sounds like hitting on a wooden object maybe. Round sound. Can't copy it. I can't. I heard that in Arrow, and every time, it might be never mind. The point is, every time I hear it, I'm like, Helena! And it's just so interesting that it's just that one sound, and they used it one time in the entire show. In this episode, we learned that Casima's illness had spread from her lungs into her esophagus, epithelial tissues, and kidneys. Some examples of epithelial tissues are the alveoli of the lungs, kidney, liver, thyroid, mammary glands, salivary glands, stomach, intestines, gallbladder, uterus. There are different types of epithelial tissues and different shapes, if I'm not mistaken. So the first time I heard that it had spread into her esophagus, her epithelial tissues, and her kidneys, I was preparing myself for Cosima to die. By episode 10, when, you know, Cosima was having her near-death experience, I actually thought she was going to die. And I had kind of forced myself to come to terms with that. I was like, yep, she's gonna die. Kira, more specifically Kira's biology, was a very important part of this episode in both developments regarding Cosima's illness as well as character interactions. When Sarah, Cosima, and Allison were on a three-way video call, Cosima said to Sarah, "I'm so sorry to have to put you in this position," and I really feel that. Because this is something that nobody wants to do. Cosima doesn't want to need stem cells in order to not die. Sarah doesn't want to bring Kira into dyad, have them poke at her or expose her to dyad in general, which is why they were so adamant about controlling the environment in which Kira got the procedure where they took her bone marrow. There's also the comment that Sarah made when Kira was having the needle driven into her hip, where she's like, what kind of mother am I? That stood out to me for multiple reasons. One of the reasons being the relationship we know that Sarah has with being a mother, how she always, even until the last episode of season 5, felt as though she wasn't a good enough mother and that she was just a screw up as a mother. And they're all kind of in a tough place here because of course they don't want to take from Kira, but if they don't, Cosima will die. That actually brings me to my third point, but let me finish my second point first. She asked, what kind of mother am I? Meaning, what kind of mother puts their child through this, or who purposely puts their child in pain? To which Delphine responded, a brave one, and I don't remember what else she said, but the response Delphine had, reassuring Sarah that in the long run, it would be more beneficial than harmful. The pros outweigh the cons in this particular scenario. Now, it would be different if they had to keep going back in and harvesting her, but this procedure was supposed to give Cosima enough time for them to come up with a gene therapy for her. And Delphine just reassured her that you're being a good sister. This is for the best. This is what needs to happen in order for her to live long enough. Now to my third point, because I brought up Kira. I think that it was so important when Sarah and S were arguing or having a heated discussion about whether or not doing this procedure is okay. S said, well, it's not your decision, because it's not. It is Kira's decision. And it makes me feel really good that even though Kira is a small child, she was given the decision to make and not forced to do it when she didn't want to, or if she didn't want to. Because if she hadn't wanted to, they wouldn't have done it. And I think that is so important, because even though she's a minor, even though she's a child, it's still her body. This is still her biology, which is the whole argument Cosima had, is that this is me. This is my body. This is my property. It isn't fair for you to take the choice out of my body. It isn't fair for you to make decisions that should be my decisions to make. But yeah, I really appreciate that. You know, I wrote down Delphine trust, and it's because of Delphine's interactions with Sarah and S this episode and how they treated her, because they obviously don't trust her. And that made me think of Rachel and Delphine in this episode, because obviously Rachel manipulated the hell out of Delphine. She lied in order to gain Delphine's trust so that she could have some sort of space to weasel her way into to Sarah's shit. Basically, Rachel needed Delphine to trust her so that she could manipulate Delphine, and with the best intentions, Delphine would misinform the people. It made sense in my head. I know I didn't say the words right. I think I did say the words right, but I was just unsure of myself. And on top of that, planting the information about Benjamin that wasn't true. And then how badly she felt after all of it. I just think that sucks. Which is why Rachel just continuously got on my nerves this season. I was like, Rachel, every time I want to like you, you don't. You ruin it for me. That is so rude. I've said this before, but it amazes me how Tatiana can pull off all these characters that I adore, that I love, that I'm super attached to, and then there's Rachel. And I think one of the things about Delphine that may not sit well with some of the fandom, but more importantly, doesn't fit well with the characters, like the reason they don't trust her, besides the fact that she works for Dyad, is even though she has the best of intentions, always, she promised to protect Cosima, she's doing that. She promised to protect Cosima's sisters, she's also doing that. She has the best of intentions, however, some of the ways that she gets to the end result, or that she feels are necessary to get to those results, or are necessary to get to those results, aren't always decisions that would leave her in good standing with them. On to the Proletheans though. This episode especially, I know I've said before that they're so creepy, but this episode especially, the guy who heads the Proletheans, I think his name is Hendrik or something. We're just gonna say Hendrik. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, sorry. With Hendrik, for one, telling Mark to marry Gracie. Okay, where's Gracie's say in that though? And that scene itself was just so creepy. Mark's face after Hendrik was like, hope you're ready to take the responsibility of raising this child. Yeah, you know, it was just so creepy. And the fact that he put his own child in Gracie's body as a brood mare. She didn't want it, and it's gross. Everything about the Proletheans creeps me out. It would make sense that Gracie would want to leave. I know, well no, I wasn't that surprised the first time I watched this when Gracie just got her stuff and was like, I'm coming with you. And also how Helena, I want to say risked herself, but she did have the situation under control. She had Hendrik in a chokehold. She told them to run while she had him occupied. I think around here is kind of the beginning of the relationship we see later on between Gracie and Helena. Everything about the Proletheans gives me the heebie-jeebies. But now their ranch is like set ablaze and burned to the ground. Helena set their ranch on fire. So we don't see too much of the Proletheans anymore. We see a bit of them in season 3. Dang it. Yeah, so next week is the finale. I guess that's it for me. If I missed anything, I'll just say it next week. That's fine. I dropped that. Paul is back next week. He's been missing for quite a few episodes. He doesn't come back until like the 3rd quarter of the episode though. Like the end of the episode. Okay, thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Comment if you want to. You can check out my channel, my playlists, or my description to see what other shows I watch or what else I do. And subscribe if any of those things interest you. Hope you're doing well, having a wonderful existence and all. And I guess that brings me to... bye. Hello, Death from Supernatural. How are you? It is our Death.
I have her phone, she's clean.
I hate when that happens. I click it and it gives me the spinning beach ball of death. Why don't you just do what I want you to? I think the episode before last I said that I'm...
Shoot, darn. It didn't work. Oh, but it did, my good man.
That's the infertility sequence. God, no wonder we're all screwed up.
It's encoded.
But this was supposed to buy Cosima enough time so that Duncan could... But this procedure was supposed to buy Cosima enough time for them to... You have the sequence, which is basically the map for how this... You have the sequence, which is basically... But this procedure was supposed to buy Cosima enough time for them to come... But this procedure was supposed to buy Cosima enough time for them to come...
I don't know what kind of game you're running, Vic, but you better call me.
Must have been the pressure of family day.
I hate olives so hard.
Dr. Newman.
She asked. I've said. Elena set their ranch on fire. Paul is back next week. He's.
Oh, God.
Spinning beach ball deathing me again. Oh, I'm supposed to be like doing some funny stuff, but I'm looking for a marker, okay? I need a marker. I just spelled Tennessee wrong.
How is she? The growths have...
Bye. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound. The seed to rich like me. I'm so tired.